Hello everyone. Today's case is yet another recent one that I've been asked to cover, and it's just as important, if not more important, to share these more recent cases out. Because these cases are so recent, there is even a greater chance that they can be found alive. Because the longer a case goes on, the slimmer the chances are. This is a case that doesn't have that much information, but the information we do know is very terrifying. 30-year-old Juanita Migwans, known as Winnie, was born to her parents, Carmelita Shea Migwans and Morris Ashcroft. She's an Indigenous woman from the Chaging First Nation, located in Manitoulin Island in Ontario, an island in Lake Huron near the border of Michigan, 152 kilometers southwest of Sudbury. In recent years, Juanita's aunt, Mary Ashcroft, has said that her life wasn't going very well. Juanita was known to be battling addiction, and she was involved in the drug world, which her family has been very, very upfront about. They've been very upfront about Juanita's struggles. And in a recent situation that Juanita was involved in, where the details haven't been revealed yet, she actually was going to have to testify in court in the very near future. At approximately 10:30 a.m. on October 2nd of 2024, Juanita would last be seen walking on Highway 551 in Oak Hill Drive in Chaging. However, Juanita wouldn't be reported missing until 5 days later on October 7th. At this point, she had not been active on her bank accounts or on her social medias. It was also noted she didn't have any ID on her or any bank cards when she went missing, and she also didn't have a cell phone on her, meaning that there has been absolutely no way to track Juanita, which her not being active on any of her social medias, bank accounts, anything like that, huge red flag. We always talk about that when someone just drops off the face of the earth completely. And on top of that, the fact that she didn't have her cell phone really hinders the investigation, because police are now not able to track where she might have gone or where someone might have taken her. Police would end up scouring the area where she was last seen and attempting to knock on doors. They followed up on tips and brought in helicopters and drones, also while conducting ground searches.
So we continue to look for leads. That's the biggest thing right now, is simply finding a lead to find Winnie. Wherever she is, in whatever condition she is, her family needs to bring her home. In talking with the police, the biggest thing they're asking is for you to answer your door. If you may not like them, but if they can at least come to your door and you can answer any questions, say you know nothing, whatever it is, then they can check it off the list that they've spoken to you. Otherwise, it's a continued use of their resource that could possibly be spent elsewhere. Check your properties, check your outbuildings. If you're at a gas station outside of the island or on the island, remember her face. She could have been taken against her will. And that's one thing that I think everybody that knows Juanita will tell you. She's not, wherever she is, it wasn't by her choice. She was too often in contact with her friends and her family for her to have gone even a week without reaching out to them. So wherever she is, it's not by her own will. Again, please, if you have any leads at all, please contact one of the authorities, Crime Stoppers. Please bring me home. There's ways of doing it anonymously. Again, we beg, please, please, please. We know you don't like the police. You may not like the police. You may have nothing for the police, but if they knock on your door, please answer it and give them anything that you can give them. Again, we thank you for all of the shares. We will keep posting. We will keep digging. We will keep looking until we get what we're all looking for, and that's bringing Winnie home.
Now, there's been a lot of talk of drugs in this case, and apparently there has been a big issue with drugs and dealers coming onto the reserves and dealing to the Indigenous people that live there. And these dealers specifically are coming from places like Toronto. We actually spoke a lot about a similar situation happening in the Brianna Maitland case. We talked a lot about dealers from New York City going up into rural parts of northern Vermont to distribute drugs there, because a lot of the times in rural areas like this, there's not much to do. So they prey on the vulnerable. And sadly, they are now preying on our Indigenous communities. A lot of times when these big city dealers are brought into areas to distribute, like rural areas, the people there, a lot of times, are bored. There's not too much to do. And so when drugs are brought in, it's thought, hey, seems like something fun to pass the time, sadly. And also on top of that, these dealers are preying on a lot of people's mental health issues, maybe generational things that have been happening within families. And it's just extremely sad that there seems to be this pattern of this happening not only in the US, but also in Canada. And because of this, it's said that it's led to hundreds of people dying of overdoses in these areas, including areas of Sudbury and Sault Ste. Marie. A documentary called The Great Change was created this year to start a conversation about putting the spotlight on drug dealers profiting off trauma in First Nations communities, which is basically what I was just getting at. In an article written in the Sudbury Star, they reported that since 2021, UCCM Anishinaabe police have charged at least 22 individuals connected to drug trafficking, most of whom were from the Greater Toronto Area and affiliated with street gangs. These gangs seem to see the First Nation communities as lucrative markets, exploiting the scarcity of services and high demand for drugs. And this alarming trend not only endangered local residents, but also increases the risk of human trafficking in areas already grappling with violence and systemic neglect. Dealers are said to use threats and violence to maintain control, including gun violence, as acts of intimidation to deter people from reporting them to police. These brazen acts have heightened the sense of fear in the community, leaving people reluctant to speak out against the dealers who have infiltrated their neighborhoods. The violent tactics used by traffickers are not only threatening public safety, but also contributes to the broader climate of fear, which is just absolutely just so heartbreaking. Our Indigenous communities have already faced enough. They've already gone through enough. And then these dealers now from the GTA are going into these communities and just causing more havoc. It's like they can't catch a break. It's just absolutely ridiculous. It's so sad. We already talk about so much on this channel about Highway of Tears and all of our, murdered and missing Indigenous women and men. And now we have situations like this happening. Like, they not only have to deal with serial killers and murderers, specifically profiling them, and now we have these drug dealers profiling them and infiltrating them and just making things worse. It's so sad. And it's definitely something that needs to be talked about more. So I'm very glad that this documentary was created and this is being brought up, because I never knew that this was happening until I was told about Juanita's case. Juanita's father, Morris, would say, quote, "Urge your band councils to ban these people from reserves. It needs to be dealt with severely." End quote. Now, regarding the searches for Juanita, the Anishinaabe police have said that the searches have included helicopters, canine units, drones, and North Shore Search and Rescue. But the thing is, despite all of these searches, a really big problem they're having is that when police are going door to door, locals will not speak up. They seem to be extremely scared to talk. The police chief would end up stating, quote, "We need people to come forward with what they know, no matter how small the detail. This isn't the time to let past grievances or mistrust stand in the way of finding a missing loved one. It's heartbreaking when doors are slammed in our faces. We need everyone's help, especially those who might have seen or heard something, even if it seems insignificant. A single piece of information can be the key to bringing her home." End quote.
Juanita Migwans, or Winnie, as her family calls her, was last seen walking on Riverside Drive in Chaging on October 4th at approximately 5 p.m. OPP Detective Inspector Raymond St. Pierre says the investigation remains active and ongoing.
Our investigators have conducted numerous door knocks, conducted numerous interviews, following up on tips of sightings. The OPP and UCCM have conducted ground searches. We have used aviation services from the OPP and UCCM. So that includes helicopter, that includes drones.
We just need people to keep sharing, talking to the police, and we simply need a lead. It's hard to believe in this day and age that with all of the communications and cameras and stuff, that she's literally dropped off the face of the earth.
We're looking for assistance, and the police can't do it on their own. We need community engagement. We need people to, step up and share that information. And if they're not comfortable in speaking to us directly, there is Crime Stoppers that people can reach out to.
St. Pierre says there is also a dedicated tip line which can be seen on your screen below. November 2nd, this Saturday, marks 1 month since Juanita went missing. A prayer vigil will be held from 5 to 6 p.m. at the Chaging Bay/Beach Park for anyone wishing to attend.
Now, there seems to be 3 main theories of what may have happened to Juanita according to her family. And I think the biggest theory is that Juanita was kidnapped due to the situation happening around her court case that she had to testify for, which, if that is so, that is terrifying. But there also has been other theories that her family has spoken on. There's always the theories in cases like this when someone's involved with drugs, that they may have gone somewhere and OD'd on drugs, and the people she was with panicked, covered it up because they didn't want to get in trouble for her overdosing over the drugs that they gave her. We talk about that a lot happening. There's other theories as well that she was kidnapped and she's now being trafficked. But, the theory that she was most likely murdered or someone kidnapped her because of that court case seems to be the biggest theory right now, and it's so scary. It's really thought that this all has to do with the drug world, but there is a chance that Juanita is still out there and that she could be rescued. So let's take one more good look at her. Juanita is described as an Indigenous female with a slim build, approximately standing 5'6" tall and around 110 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. She was last seen wearing a light colored jacket and dark colored pants. As the police said, the doors keep getting slammed in their faces, and that's not going to get them any closer to finding Juanita. This case is still very fresh. It's only about a month old. There's still a chance she's out there, especially if she was kidnapped, but she's most likely in an awful situation, and she needs to be brought home. Her family is fighting very hard to get the word out there. So if you're please able to help, please share out her missing persons flyers. Please share out her story. Her family is doing everything they can to get the word out there because they need coverage on this case. They need people to see her face because, again, if she is trafficked, she could be out there right now and you might pass her on the street. You never know. So please do your part. Please go support this family. And as always, I hope you all stay safe out there, lock your windows and doors, and I hope to see you in the next video.